So the UK government put millions in germ warfare tests. Much of Britain was exposed to bacteria and chemicals sprayed in secret trials. The Ministry of Defence turned large parts of the country into a giant laboratory to conduct a series of germ warfare tests on the public. Many of these tests involved releasing potentially dangerous chemicals and microorganisms over vast swaths of the population without the public being told. So if anyone tells you that chemtrails aren't real, you can point them towards what the UK government Ministry of Defence has admitted, which is that they turned large parts of the country into a giant laboratory to conduct a series of secret germ warfare tests upon the public. The government report released provides for the first time a comprehensive history of Britain's biological weapons trials. The report reveals that military personnel were briefed to tell any inquisitive inquirers that the trials were part of research projects into weather and air pollution. So basically they were told to lie to the public about the fact that they were releasing chemicals and biological agents upon us from planes, boats and cars. The tests carried out by government scientists at Porton Down were designed to help the MOD assess Britain's vulnerability if the Russians were to have done it to us. Well, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because the UK did it to us anyway. In one chapter of the report, the fluorescent particle trials reveals how planes flew from the north-east of England to the tip of Cornwall along the south and west coasts, dropping huge amounts of zinc cadmium sulfide on the population. The chemical drifted miles inland, its fluorescence allowing the spread to be monitored. In another trial, they used zinc cadmium sulfide and a generator was towed along a road near Frome in Somerset, where it spewed the chemical for an hour. Zinc cadmium sulfide is recognised as a cause of lung cancer and was considered a chemical weapon. In another chapter, the MOD describes how more than 1 million people along the south coast of England from Torquay to the New Forest were exposed to bacteria including E. coli, Bacillus globigi, which mimics anthrax. These were released from a military ship called the Ice Whale, anchored off the Dorset coast, which sprayed the microorganisms in a 5 to 10 mile radius. The report also revealed how DICE trials in Dorset, these involved US and UK military scientists spraying into the air massive quantities of Serratia marstans bacteria, which is an anthrax simulant, along with the chemical phenol. Similar bacteria were released in other trials called the sabotage. These tests were to determine the vulnerability of large government buildings and public transport to attack. The bacteria was released in the London Underground along the Northern Line between Collier's Wood and Tooting Broadway. The results showed that the organism dispersed about 10 miles in the tunnels underground. Other experiments involved attaching germs to threads of spiders' webs in boxes to show how the germs would survive in different environments. These tests were carried out in dozens of locations across the country, including London's West End, Southampton and Swindon. The report also confirms in other tests that they used anthrax and deadly germs aboard ships in the Caribbean and off the Scottish coast. The Guardian asked spokeswoman Sue Ellison from Porton Down if these such tests are still being carried out today, and she replied, "It is not our policy to discuss ongoing research." If you'd like to read the full report, then go to Google and type in The Guardian, millions were in germ war tests.